So here we have the Bandai Hobby high-grade Gundam The Origin YMS-06K Zaku Cannon test type. Now, obviously, this is an Origin kit. It's not an HGUC, even though the Origin is part of the UC timeline. And I think the reason they did that is because for this guy, they wanted to reuse the Zaku design that we've been getting for all these Origin kits, which I think is a great idea because it's a really good design. These Zaku 1s and Zaku 2s we've been getting from this high-grade Origin line. They have really good articulation, and they're really solid. The engineering is great. They look great. And so I think it was a good call. Now this guy, I just built him pretty rough, pretty quick. I haven't put on any decals. I haven't painted or panel lined him or anything, but I'll get to the decals in a moment. He looks pretty good out of the box, just like this. I think it looks great. Really solid. He's got that menacing Zaku Cannon look, and he's got that kind of retro look. So, being the same basic body as these other Origin Zaku kits, he's got all the same articulation. His head can spin all the way around here. Let's see if we can get it. But yeah, it can. It's a bit hindered because of the backpack and the cannon, but then again, you're not gonna be posing him with his head turning backwards, so it's not a problem. It can look up really good. It can kind of look down a bit. The shoulders can go up, but this one's a bit limited because the Zaku Cannon has a slightly different version of this triple spiked shoulder armor. Here's the Zaku half cannon, and it has the more traditional left shoulder armor. You can see there's a bit of a difference. I really don't know why it's made like that, because it basically looks the same, but it does have a bit of a harder time going up. It doesn't hinge quite as well as the others. The other ones you can get up to go pretty far, but that's okay. He usually has his hands at his sides anyway, using these guns. With this one, it's a bit better too, but you're probably not going to be posing him like that anyway. The gun itself, the cannon, that's about as far as it can go up, and then it can go all the way down like that. So that's pretty cool. He's also got his arms do that excellent full bend at the elbow. Same with the knees. They go all the way up like this, so that's great. He's got excellent ankle pivot, like all these Zakus do. It can go forward, and when you push it forward that much, the foot starts to bend, which is cool. It's got a little bit of a tiptoe movement there. Doesn't really go back at all, but that's just because the armor kind of hinders it there. Now, he's got that same really good crunch here, and for some reason it feels a little more free than some of the previous Zakus, probably because the tubing goes right up into the chest instead of latching onto the belt right there. He can spin, yeah, he can spin pretty much all the way around. All the skirt armor is great. These two go out to the side a bit. That one popped off. Oops. But yeah, you can stick his leg out of the side. You can stick it all the way up front. The front skirts are molded separately. That's great. Of course, the back skirt doesn't move, but that's fine. Doesn't really affect the articulation. So yeah, all the articulation is great. Just like I said, it's great like all these other Zakus. And the detail is pretty good too. These reds are pretty nice in the sort of chest vents, the area where the tubes plug in, and then on the mouthpiece right there. It gives it, like I said, a bit of an old, kind of a cool retro look. I'm gonna plug these back in. Now, one other cool thing about the gun here, if I can get it out, the cannon, is that if you look closely, it has these little, you can see the shells in there, the actual shells that it fires out of the gun, and that's pretty cool because this is something you don't even see when you plug it in. So it wasn't necessary for them to do that, but it's just a kind of a cool little thing that they did that. Now, if only I can get it plugged back in. Just like the Zaku half cannon, it has a little poly cap in there, so you gotta kind of wedge it in. And speaking of which, if you compare them side to side, they look pretty good together. Of course, this guy has all his decals and his panel lines, so he looks a bit more detailed, a bit more roughed up. Now, one thing people are angry about is that the half cannon was just a standard release, whereas the cannon test type right here is a premium Bandai release, meaning that in general, you're probably going to have to pay more for it. And people, you know, with this just being kind of an interesting random variation, the half cannon, and then this guy being more of a classic old suit right here, more people are probably going to want to get this guy. So Bandai probably was just being stingy, want to get more money, because most people are going to go for this anyway. And that's what a lot of people have said. They decided to skip this and get this instead, so as not to waste too much money. But I got mine for a pretty good price, and I think they look great next to each other. So anyway, most of the decals you see on this guy, the reds around the legs, the skirts, and on his chest right there, this guy has similar decals, so it's going to be pretty similar. He's got ones that go around his little spikes here. He's got ones that go around his legs, around his feet, and I think his skirts. And then he has ones that line the shield. And he's got all the typical stuff, the Zeon insignias that'll go on him, and some numbering as well, and a bunch of tiny little caution stickers. I didn't put any of those on, but I think he looks surprisingly good without it. He looks good without the panel lining too, although I probably will panel line him. So overall, I think it's a pretty good kit. I would very much recommend it, even though I like this guy as well. Like I said, most people are probably going to want to pass this one up and go for this one instead. So, you know, unless you have the extra money, you're probably going to want to get this. But one thing kind of interesting is this guy does come with a lot of extra parts that you had on the other previous Zakus. So, you know, it comes with leg parts, it comes with a chest, kneecaps, it comes with these, you know, shoulder shields, comes with the head of the other Zaku. So, I mean, I guess technically if you wanted, you could, I don't know, you could try to make something else out of those pieces, but I don't know. It's probably most worth it to get this guy and just pass up the other one. So, anyway, that's about it.